but it's the evil and the ugliness of people's hearts these days is everywhere.
This is Frankie Rose's Think Tank. Here's your host, Frankie Rose.
We're way up there. What are we doing way up there?
I don't know. We're way early, though. What are we doing way up there?
Like what? Where are we? Okay, I'm a little sleepy. Good Lord. How you doing, Mekci?
I'm good. Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Think Tank, everybody.
We're back on Delphi. It's been a while.
Oh, but that document. Ooh.
There's a lot going on, guys. Delphi in the background's been doing a lot of things. And we have left it alone for a second because we're like, man, that's a mess. And it is a mess. It's still a mess, but there's a lot of things going on.
Oh, there is. Yeah, it seems everything when it's going to happen is going to happen like boom, all at once. I'm thinking, okay, Karen Reed, we got to get a little bit done on that. We got to work on the trial we're on. We've got Madeline, her case, hoping for an arrest. It's like nonstop. Scott Peterson, I mean, I'd like to do a little bit on him. Hey, Chopper, Robert. Is it pronounced Tells?
Deus.
Tellus?
Deus.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, good to see you guys. So I made up another link in Discord for videos for Mekci to go through.
For me? What?
Well, because you wanted different things for that intro, right? Or not, sorry, that intermission?
Yeah, like anything members or subscribers want to share. If you're on Discord, you want to share your pictures.
Yeah.
Of where you live, things around your community.
Dandy said she sent you the one her young man spinning like a top.
Yeah, I have that for sure.
Nice. Hello, Pam. I got Chopper and Dandy and Carrie. And I think Nicole went back to bed. Yeah. Early teenage years and 20s, eh?
I really like Nicole. There's like some, I'm like, I like you.
Oh, yeah.
You go to school, you get good grades, you come back when you're ready.
Exactly. Yeah. Person feels like a little mommy-ish or big sister-ish or something. Yeah. Well, me, it's probably grandma, but hey. So what do you think? How about you put something up, whatever it is, and that way you can we've got you ready to go and I'll hook up the document. And what do you think?
I'm down for that. Yeah, I'm just going there now.
No problem. So yeah, I didn't get to the very end, but I know when I was watching Michelle Walks, she said something about another telephone and something with that geofencing, all the different people that were so close to where those little girls were.
And real quick, just to kind of layman's term, describe geofencing, because I know that's probably something people haven't heard before. Law enforcement has the ability to request from companies a certain geographical, they'll pick a location, they'll say, we just want everybody that was using a phone in that area at this time, at this hour, on this date. And they're given that. So it shows phone numbers, it shows what where they were at that particular location, and it's within 60 to 100 yards according to this motion. But that's what geofencing is essentially law enforcement will conduct an investigation. They'll be like, we just want all the numbers that were using this tower on this date at this time. And that's kind of how they got Brian Koberger, to be honest. If I'm remembering correctly, that they did essentially kind of like the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. Yeah, same type of thing. And again, it's been stuff that allegedly the defense has been asking for a very long time. You know, they were able, it sounds like, to make a map that was able to pinpoint a bunch of things, but they're not really telling the defense how they got it. So, yeah, kind of like a search warrant for phone numbers.
Yeah, for whoever was using their phone at a certain location at a certain time and date. Yes, they can be really specific with that and get it.
Well, and there's also talk about there's a possibility of more photos being on Libby's phone. There's a possibility of that.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying in the motion. And what was the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting? I don't know. Prosecutor Dickless Nicholas? I don't trust that dude.
I like that name.
Yeah, Dickless Nicholas. It's about it. I'm not liking him.
Slick Nick over here. And I said that on Sunday when we were doing our live. I just was like, quick recap. I was like, Slick Nick is over here trying, like, looking at ex parte motions. Like,
that is another thing.
Hey, I want these records. And he's like, oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to look at those? Yeah, dude, that's a definition.
And do you know, how long has he been a lawyer? Like, what? It's just, he's crooked. Personal opinion, of course. I just think he's crooked as ish. I
don't know what he is.
He graduated from the same Mason school as
he did. Yes, he did. We all know those things. Like,
it's just like, come on, you're not that smart. Slippery Dickless Nicholas.
This guy has never tried an M trial or a charge. Like, he's never been in this ballpark of trying cases.
Yeah, in this arena.
In the field. And I find it really weird that he went and hired another attorney who had retired. I can't remember the guy's name, but he retired. He was like, I went and got this guy. He's really experienced. I'm like, this guy's not telling you what's up. He's not telling you that you can't do that. Like, why did you hire him?
He still would know. He would still know. I mean, even...
I would hope so.
Yeah. He's supposedly the lead prosecutor. I know that Delphi doesn't get a lot of these, but he supposedly is able to prosecute in criminal charges or in criminal trials.
Think about this really quick. Just really quick. Do you remember when Delphi first, like, when it first happened, like Abby and Libby, and they found them and there was a different prosecutor there?
Oh, and yes,
and then he was like, yeah, I'm retiring, I'm out. Like, and then they just kind of like gave it.
He said because he was in fear for his life. That's what he said. He was in fear for his life.
I think that was the judge.
The
judge said that.
Yeah, the judge said that. That original judge, when he recused himself, said it was because he was afraid for his life. And back then, we just kind of made a joke out of it because, like, well, what's Richard Allen going to do to you? But if this goes deeper, darker, it might explain a little bit more. Like, that was very, very interesting. I mean, look at how long ago it was now. But at the same time, very unusual for any judge to leave because they're allegedly afraid of something happening to them. Whoa.
Sunshine, sunshine. Hello, friend.
Hello, hello.
You would think as like a judge would be like, nope, I'm not dealing with those sort of threats. I'm staying here. You can't. But at the same time, I see the other side of it where you're just like, hey, I'm too old for this kind of threats. Like, I just need to go home and protect my family. I get all of that. But it's the fact
In
that
a
the
town of
prosecution
3,000.
attorney recused himself. He retired. The original prosecutor who should have been trying this case was like, nope, I'm retiring. And they just gave it to Slick Nick. And I don't think Slick Nick was ready. And I know he's not ready. It's obviously shows like in
when he's got a good friend, like Judge CGull, he should be able to have all the help he needs in keeping shit straight. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what I feel. I don't know how I feel about that woman. Like, to be honest,
nothing good.
Like, I feel like she's trying to hold her ground, and in some sort, I can appreciate that, you know? Like, I'm like, you're a judge? You're like, no, this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm doing, and I totally respect that, but at the same time, I'm like, girl.
She's overstepping.
You need to calm the hell down, like, she is definitely overstepping some lines, making choices that are not hers to make.
Absolutely.
I honestly feel at this point she should just eat it. Just eat it. Swallow that. And
go home.
Go home and try this case barely. But I just don't understand how that can happen when she's already tried to get rid of. She's already tried to get.
I think it has to be a whole new set of everybody's. Send that guy home with something wrapped around his ankle. And
that's definitely not going to happen now. Like, since that motion's been set. Because, okay, so, like, real quick, guys, like, before the motion from the defense was set for the 70-day trial, before that, they had put in some motions that prosecution did to disqualify them again. And they had set a motion, then they pushed it back to the 18th. I don't know if that's still going to happen, but I just don't think that Gull is going to win with that. The state of Indiana has already ruled that Alan should have the attorneys that he wants.
Yeah.
And you just need to deal with that. Like, you just gotta.
And she's still, in my personal opinion, she's still acting like a deuce.
But so is the prosecution too, filing these motions to now have. Because they did file motions after that to now have that little trial that they wanted to, that they should have had on October 19th. Way back when, in 2023.
Yeah.
They're now filing like, oh no, like they did this, they did that. I'm like, dude, but the Supreme Court has already said that it's not that it's not relevant. Like, why are you trying to do that? I don't understand what's going on in Indiana.
Well, there's no logic. There's no logic. Did you want me to pull you up and I'll start? This is 18 pages.
Yes, I'm already at the map, guys. Buckle up. Get your snacks. This is going to be good. A geofence. Geofencing. I love it.
I don't see it though, Mekci.
Oh, hold on. That's right.
That's okay.
Because I gotta go share my screen.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been doing this, guys. Sorry, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, there we are. Okay. So the idea is Mekci is going to be doing all of the graphics and what have you, all the sharing there. And I will just start reading off what we have today. So this came out literally today, and it's the motion to compel and request for sanctions. State of Indiana versus Richard Allen. It's full of goodies, guys. Okay, so market, set, go.
I'm ready.
All right. So comes now the accused, Richard Allen, by and through counsel, Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rossi, and moves this court to compel the state of Indiana to provide certain discovery that the defense believes exists, but that the state of Indiana has not provided to the defense. Additionally, the defense seeks a sanction against the state of Indiana for a variety of discovery violations detailed herein. The sanction request is simply that any delay in the trial created by the state's violations of rules of discovery be assessed against the state of Indiana. In support of said motion, the accused states the following. The defense has attempted to cooperate with the state of Indiana in order to comply with the spirit of local rule, which is for the sole purpose of assisting the court and supplementing the motion to compel. Pursuant to the local rule, the state of Indiana shall disclose and furnish all relevant items and information under the rule to the defendant within 30 days from the date of the appearance, subject to constitutional limitations and other limitations, and the defense shall provide the same within 30 days of state providing its evidence. Pursuant to said local rule, the party seeks disclosure of all evidence that shall include the party's motion or request a statement showing that the attorney making the motion or request has been made a reasonable effort reaching an agreement with opposing counsel concerning matters set forth in the motion or request, including date, time, place, and manner of this effort to reach an agreement. To this day, the state of Indiana continues to provide late discovery of items and information that it was required to provide no later than December 14th, get this, 2022, pursuant to local rule. For example, on February 20th, 2024, the defense sent a certified letter to the they're certifying them, smart, to the prosecutor's office seeking many pieces of evidence, over 20, that the defense believes exist, but it appears that the state of Indiana has failed to turn over to the defense. I guess most things would probably be done, but they do everything usually via the internet. In that certified letter, the defense requested a determination if said evidence exists, and if so, to determine if that evidence has been turned over to the defense, as the defense was unable to locate any of the aforementioned evidence in the vast amount of discovery provided by the state of Indiana. In other words, the defense was seeking clarity as to whether the prosecution had turned over certain evidence or whether said evidence even exists. The state of Indiana did not respond to the letter, but rather sent one e-discovery strand, which contained a very small portion of that evidence requested, including certain videotaped interviews that have never been turned over involving people integral to the timeline. The state of Indiana turned over these pieces of evidence more than 14 months late, pursuant to the local rule without any explanation. Pursuant to the local rule, the defense is not required to make specific requests for any evidence, as the state of Indiana is required to turn over all relevant items. Yet, without making the specific requests, it appears that the defense would never have received these most recent pieces of evidence. The videotaped interviews of certain witnesses. The frustration from the defense is that this is not the first time that the defense has had to make specific requests for specific evidence that the state had failed to turn over to the defense. Because law enforcement and the prosecution are in total control of what evidence is ultimately turned over to the defense has no choice but to hope that the state of Indiana turns over all relevant evidence, especially exculpatory evidence. The defense simply does not have the luxury of knowing what relevant exculpatory evidence the state possesses and has turned over versus what relevant exculpatory evidence that the state of Indiana possesses but has failed to turn over.
Hey, Frankie, can you share my screen again, please, if you haven't already? Thank you.
Welcome. Hey, how y'all doing in there out there? Welcome, Air First Wife. Good to see you, friend. All righty. Over the course of this case, the defense has learned of certain evidence referenced in other discovered documents or mentioned from other sources or from exercising common sense that has caused the defense, to believe that said evidence does exist, but that the prosecution failed to turn over said evidence to the defense. And then the defense later determined that the prosecution did in fact possess those items, but failed to turn the items over to the defense until it was requested to do so by the defense. The history of the prosecutor failing to turn over relevant evidence to the defense has caused great concern to the defense. I have no doubt. Over the course of this evidence, many of the items that the state of Indiana has failed to provide to the defense in a timely manner are what the defense would label as major pieces of evidence, even exculpatory evidence. Many of the items that the state of Indiana failed to provide to the defense in a timely manner were only provided after the defense had specifically requested the items that the defense came to learn existed, but the state of Indiana had failed to turn over. For example, one of the more important pieces of evidence in the case is the data retrieved from the phone found at the scene where the victims were found, as this piece of evidence contains data concerning the down the hill video and other important information. This phone and the data contained on the phone has been available since 2017, yet the defense did not retrieve the data from that phone by deadline of December 14th, 2022, as designated by the local rule. The defense, knowing that this evidence simply had to exist, finally sent an email to the prosecutor on June 17th, 2023, requesting that the data from several phones, including the phone in question that belonged to Liberty German. The state of Indiana did not provide the phone data from Liberty German's phone until September 8th, 2023. Wow. Nearly 9 months after the state of Indiana should have turned over the evidence, and nearly 3 months after defense specifically requested the evidence, even though the defense is not required to make a specific request for relevant evidence. Most of the other items requested in June 17, 2023, emailed to the prosecution still to this day, have not been turned over to the defense. This includes data, reports of other information related to images of the bridge purportedly taken on Liberty German's phone at 2:05 p.m. on February 13th, 2017, as well as an image of Abigail Williams walking on the bridge purportedly taken on Liberty German's phone at 2:07 p.m. on February 13th, 2017, both purportedly sent through Snapchat. The week of August 5th, 2023, the defense took several depositions. At the conclusion of that week, it became clear to the prosecution that the defense was pursuing information containing certain odonists that had been investigated by 3 law enforcement officers, Todd Click, Greg Ferenczi, and Kevin Murphy. On or about September 8th, 2023, nearly a month after said depositions, the prosecutor provided a daunting amount of new discovery evidence, including a letter from Todd Click's lawyer discussing Click's concern essentially that the prosecution might be unaware of law enforcement's investigation into Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Elvis Fields, and others Click believed were likely involved in these M's. This letter and its contents were highly exculpatory. Upon receiving this missing evidence, the defense was surprised, shocked, to learn that on May 1st, 2023, the prosecutor's office signed for the Todd Click letter and the exculpatory evidence and information contained in that letter, yet failed to alert defense of its existence of this exculpatory discovery until after the prosecutors knew for certain the defense would definitely be calling Todd Click in for future depositions, at which this point in time, the defense would almost assuredly learn of the existence of this exculpatory evidence. McClelland did not turn over the letter and its exculpatory evidence to the defense until September 8th, 2023. It took McClelland 131 days to turn over this exculpatory evidence, and it was only turned over after McClelland knew the defense would ultimately find out about this exculpatory evidence. The prosecutor offered no explanation whatsoever as to why he had held on to exculpatory evidence for several months and only provided it to the defense once it became obvious that the defense would learn of the existence of that exculpatory evidence. How you doing, Mekci?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, sorry.
I just thought I would pop over. I can't see when I'm reading.
Oh, so yeah, no, read away. I got you. Oh, okay. Can you tell me what number you're on, though, really quick?
What number I'm on?
Yeah, on...
Oh, sure. I am on 25, page 5.
Got it. Okay, cool. I just want everyone else to see it. That's all.
Okay. No, good enough. Good enough.
Very good.
Off we go. So certainly the defense would have been much further ahead on their defense of Richard Allen had the prosecutor turned over the click information in a timely manner. Certainly the defense would have been even more prepared for the August depositions had the prosecutor turned over the exculpatory evidence. Okay, I just need a little thirsties here. All right, yeah. So 26, between September 8th, 2023 and October 6th, 2023, approximately 90 days before the January 2024 trial date had at that time been set. The state of Indiana dumped 14 hard drives, 5 flash drives, 1 disk, and certain e-discovery on the defense, including several videotaped interviews of third-party suspects that the defense had focused on when deposing law enforcement in early August 2023. I mean, they're sure acting slimy. I don't care. Like, they just slimy. The state of Indiana provided no explanation whatsoever why they had not turned over the defense this massive amount of evidence, exculpatory or not, 9 months later than required under the local rule. And a month after the prosecution learned that the defense was pursuing a defense that certain third parties were involved with the M's. Much of the late discovered missing evidence pertained to the focus of law enforcement on certain suspects involved in Odinism. There they are again. It was apparent that had the defense not alerted the state as to their strategy to pursue the Odinist angle in defending their client, and therefore the likelihood that the defense would talk to Todd Click, who would then reveal the existence of the letter. It is highly likely that the prosecutor would never have turned over that exculpatory evidence to the defense. The very last discovered item that the defense received before the prosecutor requested that the defense be kicked off the case was geofencing evidence that the defense believes was recovered on October 6, 2023. This geofencing evidence was received nearly 10 months after the state was required to turn it in, and contained what appeared to be highly exculpatory evidence concerning a variety of important matters, including the phone numbers and multiple people who appear to have been at the crime scene or within 60 yards to 100 yards of the crime scene.
So here's like the only part that I have in this whole live, guys. Here's my chance.
Time.
The crime scene, and this is just a guesstimation, is somewhere around here. Okay. Here's the thing. Where you think this is the easiest place they would have crossed. It's somewhere around here. There's like an indentation somewhere here. Mm-hmm. But this is where I placed it. This to me is where the crime scene was. That's just where I placed it. I can move it. It's not a problem. So let's just move it there. But if we're going, let's just do 100 yards from the middle of the heart. 100 yards is 300 feet.
Look at how close they are.
And let's just make that like a huge diameter around from there. So at 300 feet, and we just go around.
They were close.
Yeah.
Very close.
And that's assuming from the crime scene. I would think that the geofencing is attached to the closest tower, but I don't know. I don't deal with those kind of things. So maybe they have like a way to detect, like, you're like, oh, I'm going to give you the coordinates, and then you just tag it from there. And they can do that. I don't know how geofencing works, but geofencing, essentially, they just get the numbers, the phone numbers from people who are within a certain area at a certain time, from a distance, at a location. And that's who they get. And in this motion, they're stating it's within 160 yards. That's pretty damn close. It doesn't
that's very
come close to the moon on a high bridge. So is the number attached to that? I don't know.
Right? It's just, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. There's definitely, the way this keeps going, because I really don't trust Slick Nick there. I don't. It's just my personal thing. But he seems slimy to me. Personal opinion. So to find out that there's a possibility that they could be rotten. I mean, he could be guilty of everything the defense is saying. You know, it's hard because everybody wants to believe the prosecution.
It's easier to believe that he would be guilty.
It is easier to believe that he'd be guilty.
Yeah.
It is.
It's harder to believe that there's like some huge conspiracy.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's just, and we don't want to believe that the judicial system is this messed up in places. The only way we're going to find out is if this ever makes it to trial, you know? I mean, there's some content creators I was watching today that are literally worried about Richard Allen's safety. Will he make it to this new trial date? I hope that it's not that messed up, but you and I were talking earlier, Mekci, about, okay, the first judge that left, he literally said he left because he was in fear for his life.
Yep.
And if that's the case, who would seriously worry about Richard Allen coming to get them at night?
And if anyone can remember the name of that judge, I'm not going to try to look it up. Put it in the chat. I want to see if you all remember, if you've been paying attention to this case. Because he did say that. And then the prosecutor, who was the standing prosecutor for this case, just up and said, hey, I'm retiring. Maybe it was his time. I don't know. But like, it was so convenient.
Everyone was leaving.
Yeah. Because
as soon as they picked him up.
I know that if I was the lead prosecutor of some city or state and I was like, hey, this big case just happened. It's really passionate. Like I hold Delphi close to my heart, Abby and Libby. Like when I first came across it, and I came across it late, this is one of the ones that I really deep dived, and it kind of broke me. But if I was that prosecutor, I'd be like, no, I'm going to see this way. I'm going to see this one all the way through. I need to do this. Like, I was here. I'm going to do it. And
absolutely.
He just was like, oh, no, retired. And maybe it was this time. I don't know. But it's like Nick McClelland. I'm sorry. Let me be respectful. Nick McClelland, I feel, is a little green. He's definitely green.
But if they're giving him a case like that and it's past his head, best he be walking out the door and getting someone in there that actually knows how to handle these cases.
And maybe this is probably why the defense is going as hard as they are at him, like throwing out these things. So just to kind of play on both sides here, there's a lot of people who think that the defense is just crazy, right? They're wild. They're throwing out these things left and right, and they're just throwing out motions. They have no idea what they're doing. But like literally, these guys have a lot of experience. That's my opinion. And someone can look at that and be like, they're crazy. They don't know what they're doing. But then you look at sorry, I was about to say Slick Nick.
That's what we usually
Nicholas. And he's never tried this kind of case. He's never tried a M case or someone taking someone else's live case. Should I say? I'm trying to be really respectful about with YouTube, but he's never tried this kind of case. This is new.
Yeah, there is that to it. So it's amazing if that is the case. That how is he able to screw it up this bad, and the judge not step in and say, listen, like she did with the defense lawyers, just say, listen, I don't think you're capable.
See, you see that too, because you know how like they were complaining about, oh, you didn't file that correctly with the court, or that got out and now it's public knowledge and we're supposed to have a gag order and whatnot. Why is Nicholas getting access to ex parte motions?
Right? Why was Nicholas asked how he felt about these lawyers being kicked out off the case? Why was Nicholas asked, what's your opinion? What? You're telling me you're asking a rookie? It's just like, wow.
Who said the defense was on drugs?
Not sure what that'd be. Play nice.
Right. I was like, who said they were on drugs?
Yeah, play nice.
Now I'm thinking back. I'm like, did I say that? I'm not.
All opinions in the think tank are fair game. There's
I just find that really curious for
just a rude answer. It's just the way we work here.
I just find that really curious that the prosecution can look at ex parte motions and be like, oh, I had no idea I was supposed to look at them. But then he wants to at the same time complain about something the defense did before there was even a gag motion in. Where you know that public notice thing that they put out? Where they just said a lot of things. They said something about the election that happened before the arrest.
That's right. They were going
really
through
nothing about, like, there was a few things about the case and his timeline, like where he was, but that's on them. Like, is that really evidence? I mean, it is evidence, but like, does that really affect the case? Is what I want to say.
Right. Yeah. Okay, one thing we don't do is truly, we don't argue here. It's not okay. All righty, so I'll get back to this. And
confused because I'm not reading chat, so I have no idea like what's going on.
Yeah, you're like I was when I was behind. I just want everybody to get along like we do. Like we do. So back I go. So let's see here. So in this late discovery, the defense found a map prepared by someone, presumably law enforcement, that appears to track the movements of these people in and around crime scene the afternoon of December 13th, 2017, including between 3:02 p.m. and 3:27 p.m., or at very near the location within 60 to 100 yards of where the bodies were ultimately found the following day. Since their return to Richard Allen's defense, 2 seconds here, yeah. Okay, Giver. Gone. I'm sorry. Bye-bye. Zap. All good, guys? All good, chat?
Yeah.
No, I just zapped that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, all good, Chopper. That won't be back. That's not what we do, right? That is not what we do here. Yeah. No. Okay. So I'll have another sip of my tea, then I'll get back at it. She's gone, Chopper. All good, my friend. Zapped.
Oh, I see.
All good?
I see.
Did you get that, Mekci? I sent it to you in Discord. Earl Grey, thank you very much. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Bzz, zap. That is right. We respect one another, and no matter what, that is the key. Yeah, different opinions are welcome. You like that, do you? Air Force Wave is just cracking up over there. Zap. Yeah, we got too good of a group here to let somebody who's misbehaving disrupt us, right? People can go arguing somewhere else, that's all. Good. All righty.
Yeah, there's a better way to say things, guys. You don't have to be... That comment wasn't needed. I'm just going to say that. That comment wasn't needed.
Huh? See, now I'm missing stuff.
Well, no, because I was trying to figure out why this person got booted, but then I went around looking at the comments and found one where I was like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
That was rude and not needed.
Yep, gone. Bzz, bzz.
I am not the keeper of the channel, guys. I work for the
gate.
I work for the gatekeeper.
And yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right. I was looking around for Shauna when I seen that person disappear.
No.
You're such a brat.
No.
Okay. Back to the serious stuff.
Doesn't
Now
he
that
let his bitterness show? He's just still like, boy, you wrote so much songs from that, so thank us, okay? We want some. I want to thank you in that demo, you know? I do. All right.
People need to learn you can catch more bees with honey when you can with vinegar. Okay, back at it, guys. We are on page 6 of 18. Mekci, I am on number 32 if you want. So let's see here. Since their return to Richard Allen's defense, Allen's attorneys have specifically requested via email, February 26, 2024, that the state of Indiana provide all narrative reports related to the geofencing data, as well as all documents related to the geofencing data. But the state of Indiana so far has claimed that there is no such document. Again, the defense is at the mercy of the prosecutor's claim of the existence or non-existence of such evidence. As it relates to geofencing evidence, it would be shocking that the law enforcement would take the time to put a map together tracking the movements of certain phones in and around the crime scene between 12:39:54 p.m. and 5:49:06 p.m. February 13th, 2017, but would not then follow up with a detailed narrative reports concerning the geofence analysis of that data. Yet the prosecution claims no such geofencing report exists. However, the defense has heard this type of answer from the prosecution in the past, only to learn the prosecution claims that the document did not exist weren't true. Within the last 2 weeks, the defense deposed the state's phone dump expert, who presumably will be testifying concerning the data found on Liberty German's phone. Before that deposition, the defense had emailed the prosecution on February 26, 2024, seeking reports related to the phone dump of that particular phone in order to prepare said deposition. The prosecution responded to the defense, claiming that there were no reports related to the phone dump from the expert. Then, at the deposition, minutes before the deposition began, the prosecutor handed over 2 to 3 pages of notes that the state's phone dump expert had made, providing defense zero time to review as part of its preparation for the deposition, and providing no opportunity for the defense to meet its own technology expert in order to learn what questions would be wise ask the state's expert at said deposition. The prosecution handed over these notes without explanation and with no apparent reasons as to why the prosecutor had previously told the defense that no such documents existed, when in fact they did. The prosecutor's denial of the existence of certain documents regarding the telephone dump before the deposition, followed by the unexplained production of certain documents within minutes of that deposition, sadly was not surprising, but highlights once again the less than forthright style of which the prosecution has been turning over evidence to the defense dating back to the beginning of the case.
Real quick, does anyone else find it weird that they got kicked off the case and then they got back on the case and they were like, hey, where's all this new evidence coming from?
Yeah.
They just got
right
with a whole bunch of new stuff. They're like,
yeah. Yeah. It's just like, holy. That's the thing, is nothing is really making sense to my brain yet, as like there's things missing. There's lots missing. And I mean, the defense and the prosecution, they can figure out what they've got going before the public, obviously, but it still makes me think that there's pieces missing. Those puzzle pieces are still scattered out there. And I don't think that if the defense has seen it, they're sure going through an awful lot of trouble saying they didn't. Do you know what I'm like? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I'm gonna go out and say that I like these guys. Like, if I ever was accused of doing something horrible, I want these guys. Like,
absolutely.
They went and like drove miles and miles to go do their own interrogations with Brad Holder. I'm just gonna go ahead and say his name because everybody knows it.
It's out there. Yeah, it's like the documents are out there.
Brad Holder and that other guy, like, they went out of the way to go do this. They went out of the way to go interview with so many other people. They went out of the way to go try and find this evidence that they heard was out there but didn't have.
Yeah.
And they even went on a limb and were like, we're gonna do it pro bono because that's how much we believe in our client. How many times have you heard that happen?
This is where the doubt is coming from in my mind. Like, how often do you hear me go, I like
never
the defense?
Never.
Like, but something just seems wrong about everything. There's all these little red flags all over the place. And it's not putting this little road together. There's too many bridges out. Like, it's putting a lot of doubt into this. And if the prosecution is acting up, they got to stop that ish because it's going to come down. And if he is guilty, they'll screw it up just because they're not being forthright how they're handling their case. So, I mean, we don't get to watch the trial, so we just have to hope that behind closed doors, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
You would hope for that, because that's what we grew up like. That's what we were told growing up. They're like, hey, whatever happens, just like rely on the justice system. It'll work out. And you try to do that, and then these things happen. You're like, is this right? Like, is this how it's supposed to happen? Is this like
it's true.
But at the end of the day, it's supposed to be for Abby and Libby. And if Richard Allen isn't getting his due process, then Abby and Libby aren't going to get their justice. Like, it's just not going to happen, because
that's exactly it. You know, and we know that they're crooked out there. I mean, look at James Burke, like him in Pickle Park, and everything that he was up to.
That dude just can't quit.
No, and then look at all of the people below and above him that have come down. You know,
it makes you question a lot of things. Like,
yep.
And I think as a society, and I hate to say this because I don't want to, like, you know, I'm not about upheaval or anything, but we should be asking questions. Like, we should be doing this. We should be having a conversation about, why is this happening? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why is this going down like the way it is? I don't understand it, and I need answers. Like,
that's the thing. That is the thing. None of us feel like we're getting the answers. You know, we don't. Like I said, there's too much missing from this particular puzzle. Like you said, I don't want to believe for 2 seconds that this prosecution and possibly everybody around there is
It's just that
not
messed
doing
up.
their
It's just like a huge
jobs.
conspiracy. Like you're just like, I don't want to
Yeah,
believe that. Like that would
I
be
don't want
crazy.
to. And I don't want to think that the judicial system is that bad,
No.
that screwed up. But I don't know. I thought that was something running across my screen. It's your little red mouse. I was like, what is that? What is that? Okay.
I made it like extra big so that everyone could see. Sorry.
Yeah. No, all good. It was that little pink thing that was like, when I just like, poke it. Okay. So let's see here. Number 36. Furthermore, because of the lack of candor concerning the existence or non-existence of certain evidence, the defense cannot be sure whether certain documents exist concerning geofencing analysis, even though the prosecution is claiming that there's no such documentation that exists. And that's the shit part of this. Once they start lying, you don't know when that stops. Or dishonest, or however a person wants to phrase what's been going on around this case. Since rejoining the case, the defense has sought out the names of the geofencing expert or experts who analyzed the geofencing evidence for purposes of preparing for depositions to determine if the state's expert has an explanation as to why the geofencing evidence displays what appears to be extremely exculpatory evidence of people walking in and around the crime scene during the times when law enforcement is claiming that the M's were taking place. At first, the prosecutor refused to provide the names of his experts, but then told the defense he would ask his investigator. What? Again, oh lordy. Again, specifically, someone prepared a map which tracked the February 13th, 2017 afternoon movements of multiple phones in and around the place where victims are ultimately found the following day. Sorry, Jazzy. Particularly, some of these movements appeared to have occurred between 3:02 p.m. and 3:27 p.m., either at the scene where the victims were ultimately found on February 14th, 2017, or within 60 to 100 yards from that site. And none of the phones or people associated with the phones have any affiliation with Richard Allen.
Okay, so let's just look at that again, guys. Real quick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I need my hand. All right. So.
Hush, Fleabag. I'm just passing on a message.
The flea bag ate the glasses.
The Fleabag. Yeah. Canadian Fleabag, he calls them. It's just such a nice guy.
This is the Moudon High Bridge. It goes all the way across. And somewhere around here, it's speculated that this is where the down the hill is, because they were right around here on the bridge when that video was taken. Mm-hmm. This is the private drive. This 625 West is that private drive that goes to the house right there.
Bless you, Chooch.
He ruins everything, doesn't he? Oh my God. But this is supposed to be where down the hill is. So we're suspecting that the crime scene, because this would be the easiest pass to cross, would be in this area here, right? This is what the heart is.
Yeah.
Again, I can move that to wherever, but 100 yards, 300 feet.
Yeah. And I mean, that one fellow on one of the previous lives we did said in his that he was right there. Like before he got called back in that night, he was right basically where the girls were found.
Yeah, he said he was right around here, right?
He said he was, I think he was even closer yet.
Yeah. Again, we don't
But
really
this is
know where this is, but
yeah, the way he made it sound, he was like hops, like just pretty much right there and didn't see anything.
yeah, I just don't. There's a lot of things that I don't understand about this case, specifically. It's not a short amount of time. It's that picture was taken at 2:07. The video was what, like 2:14?
Yeah, right in there somewhere. Yeah. I'd have to look back.
Her stepfather or her grandfather showed up at 3:00, 3:30.
Yeah.
Everything is such a time crunch. If you look at
That's it.
the witness statement of the guy walking down the street, muddy and bloody, he would be walking down this street.
Yeah. That's the thing, Tony, is there really is no smoking gun evidence.
No.
This is one of the things that is leaving it open for the defense to get in there. They don't have anything that they've let us know about.
And that's the thing too. Maybe Richard Allen did do it, maybe he did, but I don't see any like hard evidence
That's it.
on it. I know there's certain creators out there who I respect who are like, no, he did it. And that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish I understood what they understood because I don't see it.
That's it.
Like,
it's not, it's not looking good at all. And it's not what I would like to see. I'm going to let these two out if you want to just take over for 2 seconds or chit chat, guys.
what's I supposed to talk about?
Show them around a little bit on your other. I'll just be 2 seconds. I'll let the girls out. Give Tony a hard time. Come on, ladies.
What do you guys think about the Delphi case? One in the chat if you think that Richard Allen is guilty of this. I'm going to give you 2 more options. 2 in the chat if you think you had a partner. Chopper half. Or 3 in the chat if you think this is just all a conspiracy and like a whole different group of people are involved.
Yeah, like I mean,
it's just somebody else completely. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's a good reason, Douglas. 400-kilometer trip to court. I would do it. 1 if guilty, 2 if he had a partner, and 3 if it's a conspiracy.
well, 2, like, here's the thing, because do you remember that was it Nick who said it? when they first arrested him, they were like, we're still looking at other people. Like,
Yep.
um,
And so did
so
Doug
number
Carter.
2 would still technically make him guilty. But
Yeah.
if you're only presenting it to the court as this, it's just him, I would find him not
0.5 if
guilty.
you're undecided.
No, Chopper, that's not an option. No.
It's just this thing, like nothing has been smooth. If they had everything on him, let's look at Rex Heuermann.
Mm.
You know, he's got stuff. He left stuff all over the place. Like it's pretty easy. Look at Koberger. I haven't heard anyone go, yeah, he's innocent. There's no way he was there. He said he was driving around. I'm pretty sure he was in another state driving around. Like you don't hear anything. There's not a lot of evidence right now on Richard. There's things pointing away from him. So I can't say he's innocent because I don't know. I don't know that. But I do know that
I don't know either. But here's the thing, real quick, guys. Let's go back. We Frankie and I, Frankie alone has done a lot of lives on this. We've talked about this. Where's the escalation?
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing on Richard Allen.
Nope.
He has no background whatsoever.
No, he doesn't.
With Koberger, with Brian, you saw a few things coming out from his parents, his past. He does have a past record.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of things going around Moscow, Idaho. They were like really sketchy before all of it happened.
Yeah.
And then Rex Heuermann, this dude has a past. You could see it. There's an escalation there, and you can see it with Stefan Stearns. There's an escalation there with him too. Of if you believe his friends, there's an escalation there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you see nothing with Richard.
Exactly. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I would love to believe the prosecution. That guy's name, Tony, was Keegan Klein. Now, he's another one that I have not eliminated yet.
He's the one that catfished them. And here's the thing, too, about Delphi. When you look at all the characters that are involved, and there's a lot of names, there's Keegan Klein, Ron Logan,
a whole list of them. I can't remember all of them.
And all the ones that have been recently mentioned by defense, they're kind of sketchy. But all these guys are like evil people. Like not evil, but they're evil. Sorry, they're evil.
Yeah, they've
evil. Done really messed up things in their past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never been convicted, but like it's just something that you kind of have to be aware of. And there's all these sketchy people around Delphi, but then you have the person you arrested who has no record. And you're just kind of like, what? Yeah. And maybe he is like an expert person that just gets away with everything. But I don't know.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely, Dingo. This is about the two little girls that were found near the bridge in Delphi, Abby and Libby. You betcha. All righty. So let's see here. So 39. Following the request for the identity of the geofencing experts, the prosecution claimed they had no idea who analyzed the geofencing data. But then the state of Indiana provided the names of 4 people that may be called a state expert witness on geofencing. Nowhere in discovery has the defense located any narrative, reports, or other documentation or analysis of the geofencing data from any of the 4 identified state geofencing experts. Oh, Jazzy's outside being tough. Nowhere in discovery has the defense found any documentation negating the defense analysis that the geofencing evidence shows multiple people were found in or near the crime scene at the time when law enforcement claims the M's were occurring. Additionally, the defense has reviewed all discovery provided by the state of Indiana and has not found a single interview of any of the people whose phones, according to geofencing data, were found the afternoon of February 13th, 2024, moving in or around the location where the bodies were ultimately found the following day at the times when the M's would have taken place, according to the law enforcement timelines. The defense did locate very limited background information containing one of the owners of one of the phones, but did not locate any narrative reports, interviews, or notes concerning the owner of the phone. It would be shocking if the owners of these phones were not interviewed with their movements, when their movements were tracked, and then replicated on a map depicting their movements around the crime scene based upon geofencing coordinates. Yet the defense has not located any interviews of the owners of those phones. The defense has located no information or interviews contained in any investigative documents concerning any other person or people whose phone numbers were identified on February 13th, 2017. as walking in or around the same area where the victims were ultimately located the next day. Again, someone in law enforcement summarized these movements by replicating them on a map, yet no narrative report can be found to explain why law enforcement reduced the movements to a map of the multiple people using multiple phones at or near the crime scene at the time of the murders were purportedly committed. Let's see here.
Am I here by myself? That just happened. Where is Frankie?
There I am.
Hello, friend.
What the hell happened there?
I have no idea.
Good Lord. Is you all there by yourself?
I kind of was. I didn't realize it. I was busy mapping. I was like, oh.
I don't know what happened. I was just not there at all. All right. Okay, then. Let's see here. After the debacle involving the identity of the Purdue professor The defense has no faith at all that the prosecution will produce evidence such as geofencing analysis as required under Local Rule 08-CR00-018. 49. As detailed in the Frank's memorandum filed September 18th, 2023, as well as the defendant's additional Frank's notice filed October 3rd, 2023. Since August 10th, 2023, the defense has asked the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor whose findings thwarted investigative efforts to look into Odinism as being involved in the M's. According to Sergeant Jerry Holman, the Purdue professor had reviewed the arrangement of the sticks left at the crime scene and concluded that the sticks found on the girls at the crime scene, according to Holman, did not represent Odinism or any type of cult worshiping or any type of group that would have committed the crime. However, after his deposition, the defense sought the identity of this Purdue professor who altered the way that the case was investigated. No one from the prosecution or law enforcement claimed that they could remember this Purdue professor's name. After the defense made several requests from the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor for purposes of conducting a deposition, the prosecutor sent an email to the defense on September 6th, 2023 that read, "As stated before, we are trying to identify the Purdue professor, but no luck yet. Detective Holman has reached out to the FBI and Purdue and has not gotten a response yet. We will continue our endeavors, but may not be able to identify him or her." This response from the prosecutor seemed utterly preposterous. It had been nearly a month since the defense first made its request for the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor, and the state police, with all the resources at its disposal, claims that it was unable to identify the Purdue professor, even indicating that they may not ever be able to identify of the Purdue professor. The professor's email seemed implausible. The mere identity of the Purdue professor is considered discovery that should have been turned over to the defense. His name and reports should have been provided to the defense no later than December 14th, 2022, according to local rule. Yet on September 6, 2023, the prosecutor told the defense that Jerry Holman and the vast resources of the Indiana State Police could not figure out who this professor was, nor did the prosecutor turn over any of the Purdue professor's reports. However, since getting back on the case, the defense has learned that Jerry Holman did in fact learn the identity of the Purdue professor, Jeffrey Turco, on August 12, 2023, through the Purdue Police Department, and Turco's identity was confirmed a few days later by other law enforcement. Holman even had possession of Turco's report, which contradicted Holman's August 10, 2023 sworn testimony during this same time frame. The information contained in paragraph 55 above came directly from Jerry Holman's own report, prepared September 22nd, 2023. Holman's report was not made available to the defense until February, so this is last month, 2024. Yeah. Holman's September 22nd, 2023 report exposes the following concerning the state of Indiana's intentional violation for the discovery order due to their attempt to hide the identity of exculpatory witnesses. During the month of August 2023, the defense made multiple requests for the state of Indiana to identify the Purdue professor who, according to Jerry Holman and Tony Liggett, altered the way the case was investigated. By mid-August 2023, Holman knew the identity of the Purdue professor, yet throughout all the August and September, McClelland told the defense on multiple occasions that Holman and or law enforcement could not figure out the identity of the Purdue professor. McClelland's September 6, 2023 email to the defense detailing Holman's inability to identify the Purdue professor was clearly not true. After the filing of the Franks memorandum on September 18, 2023, Jerry Holman was forced to interview the Purdue professor before the professor learned that he was missing. Holman interviewed the Purdue professor the very next day, September 19, 2023. Holman's September 22, 2023 report memorializing his meeting with Turco is filed with multiple falsehoods and mischaracterizations concerning his conversation with Turco. In what appears to be an attempt to water down Turco's actual opinion that it was a given that someone was trying to replicate a Germanic runic script, Holman memorialized Turco's conclusions as inconclusive. Alrighty then. Despite how Holman drafted his report, Turco's conclusions were not inconclusive whatsoever. Turco was clear that in his opinion, and that of a Harvard expert, the sticks found at the scene were an attempt to replicate a Germanic rune script. The only thing that Turco could not say for certain was the intended meaning of the person or persons who left the runic script at the crime scene. Holman also attempted to say those reading his report when Holman wrote in his report that Turco stated that no evidence or research indicates that those involved in Odinism practices ritualistic human sacrifices. Holman chose not to include Turco's actual words, that the stick configurations were pretty clearly runic, and that Turco, could certainly manage that this was somebody's idea that when you do human sacrifices, you carve runes.
Frankie, real quick. Hold on. I just want to move back to the chat real quick because we don't know what the girls had on their camera or video.
Not if there's other stuff. Nope.
No, we have no idea. There's Bridge Guy who looks like someone.
Yes, he does. He looks like a few someones.
Yeah, it's like he looks like someone. I don't know who he looks like.
Yeah. I mean, Brad Holder looks similar. Tony Klein looks similar. They said
I was gonna say Toby Keith, not Toby Keith. Toby,
the cop. Something Toby, yeah. Toby Lesenby.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you sure, Tony? Yeah. I'm sure that guy had long hair under his hat.
I mean, you could be it. Like, there's a lot of guys that I've seen. Oh, that's Rich Guy. Like, oh, that's Rich Guy.
Yeah, Chopper says the bridge guy kind of looks like Brian Koberger.
But we also don't know what else they have on their phone, you know. And I've heard it before. I've heard a few statements, a few people saying that there's more pictures. There's more pictures
Yeah.
of that day that they're not
Yeah.
releasing.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
I don't know if that's true. I've just heard that.
Oh,
in
you
several places.
guys. That's where the problem lies. Duh, banished. So that little biatch was literally, she was either a bot because she just came through as cryptics, but in the back, she was something else. So if you see any kind of weird names and we're not looking, can you?
They seem so nice too, though.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, she was a total troll. That's why she was causing trouble like that in chat. So now we know.
Did he though? Did Shauna really? Did he? I know. I've seen the pictures with his daughter on that bridge, though. That was weird.
Yeah,
that was really weird.
And he did talk to his wife and his mother allegedly saying that he did this. So, yeah, cryptex Carrie.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for just a moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we all know about those false confessions, right? But it usually happens when you've been sitting in an interrogation room with a police officer who's just going at it for hours and hours on end. That's usually when it happens. I still don't understand why it happens.
But it does happen.
And
it does.
I could see something similar happening with him. I mean, you have to think, like, he's not just sitting in a jail. He's sitting in prison.
Well, and let's remember, this is what he looked like when he was sitting in that jail.
You want to stop for a confession?
Like, this is what he looked like when he was at Westfield. And now that he's at Wabash, well, he's looking a little bit better, but he looks like ish there. So, I mean, what? Did I lose you, Mekci?
Oh, I just Air Force got me dying. She was like, when you stop for a confession, I'm like, what?
Oh, gotcha.
No, it's like lawyer. All
right, lawyer.
That's hilarious. It's like when you stop for a second just to give a confession. He's like, yeah, I did that. I did all of those things.
A wheelchair guy. Oh my God, Daryl Brooks. Is that a wheelchair guy? Or were you talking about? What am I missing? Like, are you talking about this picture? That's Richard Allen. Yeah. Yeah, this is Richard Allen. Boom.
And that's the thing too, like these kind of jobs, like you should have some sort of respect, right? And like we've been talking about this all week or even like in several weeks with all the trials you've been running where like people are just showing up wearing whatever they want to wear, sweatpants, a flannel.
It blows me away.
There was like a day in life where people showed up to court dressed up. Like, you know, you put your 9s and 2s together. You were good. You were looking clean. And Now, I would think if I was a correctional officer and I saw that, like he was like, I'm ready for court, and I saw that rolling out, I was like, oh no.
No.
I'm gonna go get you a fresh shirt, some new, if that's what I'm gonna go get you some new prison gear, because that's not what you're standing in front of a judge in.
Unless they're wanting to show his condition.
That would be on the lawyers then, right? Like, just like, oh,
Well,
no,
you would,
just let him wear what he's wearing, right? Like,
yeah, I would think so, yeah.
I just would not allow that. Like, if I was a prison guard, I would not allow that. I'm like, no, get him some fresh gear. I'm not doing that. Like, you're not going to court like that. It's so disrespectful, isn't it? Like, and if you were doing something to that prisoner in prison where you were making him be in these conditions, wouldn't you want to hide that? Like, give him fresh gear so he would show up in court fresh and clean? Like,
okay, I just have to say this really, really quick, James. But you also like Trump. Just saying.
yeah, you're right, Air Force, because we saw what, I can't even remember his name, for Audrey Cunningham. That dude was shown in his birthday suit. Shown, like, I don't even understand that. Audrey Cunningham, the guy,
Yeah.
he was completely NACO. Like,
yeah, they got him to wrap his blanket around his waist while he went outside and went out front there to the desk, and
that's what I'm getting at. Like, what does that say about people? Because, like, I'm just saying, like, as a prison guard or a sheriff or whoever I was, I'd be like, no, bro, like, put some sorry, I almost cussed. Put some clothes on. Like, where did you put them? Why don't you have them? Like,
why don't you have them? That gross little worm. Yeah. Brutal. So what do you think? Back at it, friend?
Yeah. Let's just rant over. Let's go.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's see here. Holman also attempted to deceive those reading this report when Holman wrote in his report that Turco stated that no evidence or research indicated that those involved in Odinism practice ritualistic human sacrifices.
Real quick, what number are you on?
I am on no. Okay, that's going to go back again. 57.
All right, cool.
And then down to 3. Are we going on to 4 next? So Holman chose to not include Turco's actual words, that the stick configurations were pretty clearly runic, and that he, Turco, certainly imagined that this was somebody's idea, that when you do human sacrifices, you carve runes. There are some poetic sources that would sort of support that idea, that somebody might have come across that scenario seem entirely plausible to me. Whereas Turco told Holman to his face that the people who placed these sticks on the girls clearly were attempting to create ruins, and that it was entirely plausible that the perpetrator would believe that after human sacrifice, he or they should carve runes. Holman attempted to deceive the reader of the report by implying that Turco totally disregarded the possibility of the involvement of human sacrifice. That is not what Turco said. Holman certainly understood that on August 10th, 2023, he, Holman, did not tell the truth under oath at his deposition concerning the findings of the Purdue professor, then tried to hide the identity of the Purdue professor. While Holman was attempting to hide the identity, what Holman did not account for was that the Franks memorandum would be filed on September 18th, 2023. And the Franks memo would call out Holman and McClelland for claiming they could not figure out the identity of the Purdue professor. Furthermore, McClelland never once contacted the defense and alerted that the Purdue professor had been found. Furthermore, McClelland has still never explained to the defense why he, McClelland, had sent an email on September 6, 2023, claiming that the identity of the Purdue professor was still unknown, when it was later revealed that Holman had known the identity of the Purdue professor several weeks earlier. Additionally, McClelland never turned over the Purdue report until receiving an email from the defense requesting that he turn over the report.
Question real quick, because I might have missed it, but since we know that there was like another original prosecutor to this, could McClelland just be that oblivious? He was like, oh, I didn't look at it. I
don't think so. I really don't know.
Obviously, he would have had it. It's been 5 years, guys. He would have had it.
Yeah, and he's got a team. It's just not like little, Slicky Dicky there is on his own. He's got every resource available to.
You are like dead set on that nickname.
Oh, yeah. Dickless Nicholas. It's just, I don't like him. And I don't like Fran CGull. I've never liked shitbirds. I will never like shitbirds.
I've never liked shitbirds. I don't like her name. I hate her.
Yes, Slicky Dicky. No, Dickless Nicholas. He's got no. Yeah, maybe Green Slicky Dicky.
Oh no! Don't say that. No.
Just saying. It's my opinion. My opinion. Yeah, Slicky Icky.
Oh no.
Yes, we're going to have such a great members live next time. Let me tell you, we got stuff to talk about. Yeah, I don't like seagulls. Not the Steven either. No shitbirds. All right, so McClelland finally turned over the Purdue report on October 4th, 2023 at 9:43 p.m. via email, nearly 10 months after it was required to do so under local rule, and well over a month after Holman had received the report in mid-August 2023. The Purdue report that the prosecutor finally turned over to the defense further exposed the lack of veracity of Liggett and Holman's August 2023 deposition testimony. You stay out of there, girlfriend. Oh, I know what you're after. Which further explained why Holman tried to hide the identity of the Purdue professor and the contents of his 2017 report. In addition to those discovery violations already identified, the state of Indiana also failed to produce other evidence that the defense has had to either pursue on its own or make a specific request from the prosecution. Some of this evidence includes, but is not limited to, the following. The fake crime scene image found on Brad Holder's Facebook page. The defense had to travel to Georgia to retrieve a copy of that image. To this day, the state of Indiana has not turned over a copy of said faked crime scene image, while having to admit in deposition testimony that it is real and was found on Brad Holder's Facebook page within weeks of the deletings. Do you still have those pictures, Mekci? All those screenshots?
Somewhere in my computer, yeah.
Somewhere? I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, because they've all gone. Well, they're saying I'll have to. Well, I don't have it.
I haven't looked. See, I stopped sleuthing back like before December. I was like, new year, new me, right? No more
Right.
sleuthing.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. So I haven't like look. Did they private their accounts?
Well, that they're saying.
I'm gonna go look right now.
Okay, I'll keep yipping.
No, wait, I can't.
Wait.
Oh. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a Facebook page. I closed mine.
Oh no, continue on though, because I'm just gonna.
Video of ritual in Fort Wayne involving Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall, in which Westfall can be seen marking a tree using his hand at a similar height as the tree where the F was found at the crime scene, after finding references to the ritualistic video in an email from Detective Greg Ferenczi to Tony Liggett. The defense had to ask for that video as the prosecution had not yet turned the video over for the defense. The video was finally received on or about September 8th, 2023, about 10 months after the prosecutor was required to turn it over to the defense. Video of Elvis Fields' interview was not turned over until September 8th, 2023. Video of Johnny Messier interview was not turned over until September 8th, 2023. Video of Rod Abram interview was not turned over until September 8th, 2023. Video of Ned Smith interview was not turned over until September 8th, 2023. These attempts at concealing evidence at the hands of Holman and the prosecution detailed in this motion provides the underpinnings to support the defense position that law enforcement and the prosecution continue to hide evidence from the defense and do so without care or concern of any consequences from this court. The defense recently filed a motion for early trial for several reasons, including concern for their client's safety and mental and physical health. The biggest concern that the defense has concerning the early trial request is the prosecution's continued violation of the discovery rules. The defense would therefore request the court to compel the state of Indiana and law enforcement to turn over all relevant evidence in its possession. Again, as the defense does not have the luxury of knowing what is in the state's possession. The defense can only specifically request discovery that the defense believes exists upon a common sense understanding of the evidence that they currently have in their possession and the evidence that should exist as an extension of the evidence that the defense has already received. The defense is requesting the court to compel the state of Indiana to turn over to the defense by no later than Monday, March 18th, 2024, all evidence that it may have in its possession but has failed to turn over, including the following. All reports that detail how certain videos that should have been found on hard drives labeled Delphi DVR _ original were purportedly deleted between February 13th and February 20th, 2017, including a deleted videotape of interviews of Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. This would include any reports that detail how the erased videos were discovered. what attempts were made to retrieve the erased videos, an explanation for how the deleted videos were erased, and any attempts to contact the subjects of the erased interviews for a re-interview. All reports that detail how certain audio is missing in certain videos found on a hard drive labeled Delphi DVR _ original, in which the video is present but the audio is not. The defense would further request all reports that detail why there is not audio, what efforts have been made to retrieve the audio, and any attempts at recreating the audio by re-interviewing those seen but not heard on that video. The identity of all persons whose interview were erased as detailed in paragraph 69A above, and also the identity of all persons, hey, you too, who are reviewed. Give me 2 seconds. I'm having. All righty then. Okay, so the identity of all persons.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Pam's leaving. Bye, Pam. Good night.
Oh, good night, Pam. Have a good night. We'll see you next time, friend. Yeah, that's exactly. Lizzie, biscuits.
Also, can I play this really quick? Because this is the FBI website for this case.
Yeah, you betcha.
I only have this one. It's an added voice. I put the volume a little bit higher, so just beware, guys, if you're wearing headphones. Pre-warning. I'm closing out. But you know how you guys there's been rumors or sayings that video is longer than it's supposed to be, or what they give us.
Yeah.
People are now saying that there's like more pictures that were taken. I heard a long time ago that this video was way longer than 43 seconds. I don't know how true that is, but I just want you guys to know. So
Abby's mom said there was still a bit, but I don't know what she meant by a bit.
Right. Everyone has a different definition of a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't have walked over that bridge. Are you kidding me? No.
Not then, not now either.
Nope.
To be honest.
Okay, so ready, Freddie?
Yes.
Okay. So the identity of all person whose interviews were erased as detailed in paragraph 69A above, and also identity of all persons who are viewed on all video in which there is no audio as detailed in paragraph 69B above. Similarly, the state of Indiana provided hard drive Delphi DVR drive 1 export in which the state of Indiana claims that there is no detectable audio on the original drive from which the duplicate was made. The defense requests the court to compel the state of Indiana to identify all persons viewed on this hard drive in which no audio is available, as well as a synopsis of what was said on the missing audio. A hard drive. Delphi DVR, Drive 1 export. It appears that a sketch artist met with a lady and then sketched out an image of a male. The defense has never seen this sketch, nor has the prosecutor produced this sketch to the defense. The defense requests the name of the female who appears to provide the information that resulted in the sketch, as well as all documents of the sketch artist that the defense has seen other sketch artists produce in other sketches, and the substance of the conversation between the sketch artist and the lady providing the information, and all law enforcement reports detailing why law enforcement asked this witness to provide information for the sketch artist. Furthermore, the defense requests the court to compel the state of Indiana to produce the sketch itself. All of Derek German's law enforcement interviews, including video, audio, and or notes, reports memorializing any law enforcement interview. If he was never interviewed, the defense would ask for confirmation of that fact. So they're saying that Libby's dad may not have been interviewed, and if he was interviewed, they haven't seen anything.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is.
Because that's crucial evidence. That's the thing.
And there's more.
They interviewed. We're not reading that document right now. I'm pretty sure Frankie's probably covered it. Brad Holder and the other guy were interviewed immediately. Yeah, not Westerman.
No, not Westerman. Let me go. I just said it too.
I know, but you guys know who we're talking about. So they got interviewed immediately after the crime, and somehow the police officer just recorded over it.
That's what they're saying. Yeah,
that makes no sense because this is part of a huge investigation. You just don't record over people's interviews because all of this comes back. Because you need this for court. Like everybody that you interviewed, regardless if you thought they were guilty or not, or had anything to do with it, you interviewed them. You need these recordings. You need these. Yeah. You need this documentation because you need it for court.
Well, it should be put in a very safe spot afterwards. Not
you just recorded over it.
I just recorded over it. So listen to this one. For purposes of establishing a timeline, all of Kelsey German's phone dumps of all phones attributable to Kelsey German, if her phone was never collected, the defense would request confirmation of this fact. Furthermore, every law enforcement interview, Kelsey German, including video, audio, notes, and reports memorializing any law enforcement interviews. If she was never interviewed, the defense would ask for confirmation of that fact. Same thing, victim's sister, and they're saying that there's a possibility there's nothing from her now. All of Cody Patsy's phone dumps of all phones attributed to Cody Patty, if his phone was never collected, so this is Libby's dad, the defense would request confirmation of this fact. Further, of every law enforcement interviewed of Cody Patty, including video, audio, and or notes, reports, memorializing any law enforcement interviews. If he was never interviewed, the defense would ask for confirmation of the fact. There are 2 images that exist, but which the state of Indiana has not turned over to the defense. Those images can be found on the internet. with at least one of those images seemingly adopted by law enforcement as being legitimate, as it has been utilized by law enforcement in various media appearances, including a 2019 press conference. We're talking about the photo of Abby Williams walking on the bridge, purportedly taken at 2:07 p.m. on February 13th, 2017, attributable to being sent via Snapchat from Liberty German's phone. Also, an image of the Monon High Bridge, purportedly taken at 2:05 p.m., also attributable to being sent via Snapchat from Liberty German's phone. Related to those items, the defense would ask the court to compel the state of Indiana for that, so far as it has not been reduced. Interviews or reports of Kyle Smith or anyone else received either both images taken on the bridge purportedly at 2:05 p.m. and 2:07 p.m. purportedly from Libby's Snapchat. All reports, analysis, and documentation detailing any information about the images purportedly taken at 2:05 p.m. and 2:07 p.m. and sent out via Snapchat. All reports, documentation, and analysis from Snapchat or any law enforcement agency dealing with the data confirming that those images were taken, where they were taken, and how they were distributed, including all reports related to the data and metadata. Any analysis related to those images that has been conducted by any law enforcement agency or by any person or governmental or private entity that has worked with law enforcement. If the state of Indiana does not believe that the image of Abby walking on the bridge at 2:07 p.m. and of the bridge taken at 2:05 p.m. are discoverable because of the state of Indiana does not claim those images as relevant or reliable, then the defense requests confirmation of the same. All reports and or documents, including phone dumps from any phone or electronic device that was believed to possibly be a phone or electronic device of either victim used near the Monon High Bridge or in an area that was geofenced near the Monon High Bridge and was identified as a victim phone that is different than the phone found at the crime scene. I was waiting for that.
I need you to read that whole thing again.
All reports and or documents, including phone dumps from any phone or electronic device that was believed to possibly be a phone or electronic device of either victim used near the Monon High Bridge or in an area that was geofenced near the Monon High Bridge and was identified as a victim phone that is different than the phone found at the crime scene.
Okay.
All emails between Professor Turco and any law enforcement officer from 2017 to present. All reports, documentation, notes, any analysis of geofencing data related to this case. The identity of the person or persons, presumably law enforcement, that labeled the geofencing data, including labeling a second phone as geofence victim. That was not the phone belonging to Liberty German. The identity of geofence victim from a phone that does not belong to Liberty German. The identity of the person or persons, presumably law enforcement, that reduced the geofencing coordinates of multiple phones on February 13th, 2017, between 12:39:54 p.m. and 5:49:23 to a map tracking the various phones on that date between those times.
Search pause. So, what I find interesting is not so much J, but M. They're
M?
saying there's another phone out there
That's what they're saying. That's
from that belongs to it, aka possible victim.
Yep. That is not Liberty German's phone.
That's interesting because they're saying that Abby had no phone.
Well, that's
Right?
what they're saying, but what do we know? Where do we get that information from?
Well, like all the information that has come out of Delphi that we follow comes directly from police, like,
Yep.
or law enforcement, like.
Exactly. So we would only believe that there's one phone. If there's another one, we would have just assumed, because you usually can, that they're giving full transparency to a lot of this stuff, right?
You would assume that they would.
Well, this type of thing, I mean, if there's another phone and Dickwad Nick there thinks that he doesn't have to share it, I don't know. I don't even come close to understanding what mother truck is going on right
This
now.
right here is interesting.
Yes, it is. Okay. The identity of the person or persons, presumably law enforcement, that labeled the geofencing data, including labeling a second phone as geofence victim, that was not the phone belonging to Liberty German. They want the identity of that geofence victim from a phone that does not belong to Liberty German. The identity of the person or persons, presumably law enforcement, that reduced the geofencing coordinates of multiple phones on February 13th, 2017, between 12:39:54 p.m. and 5:49:23 to a map tracking the various phones on that date between those times. All interviews, reports, documents, or memorialization of interviews of anyone else whose phone was found through geofencing in or around the crime scene at the time law enforcement is claiming that these took place in the afternoon of February 13th, 2017. All reports of a leak investigation not related to Mitch Westerman leak investigation, including any reports made by Nick Dick McClellan of content providers reaching out to him claiming that they were in possession of leaked information, and which McClellan then ordered the content provider to delete images. The defense further requests that the state of Indiana be sanctioned for a variety of discovery violations detailed in this document. Specifically, the defense requests, I like this part, any violations result in the need for a continuance of the early trial in order to evaluate late discovered evidence, that the time be applied against state of Indiana and not Richard Allen. Wherefore, the accused moves this court to compel the state of Indiana to provide all relevant evidence in its possession to the defense, including all specific, it wasn't the part I was waiting for, Specific request made in paragraph 69 herein. Andrew J. Baldwin. The part that, now there's a few documents that were dropped today. And one of them, I was watching Michelle, and one of them basically, well, it said, and if there's going to be anything that happens with this, we'd really appreciate it if Nick was not responding to his own case.
Man.
Right? It's a cluster.
Can I feel bad for the guy now? Because that's terrible. From I watch a lot of LawTube and everyone's like, that's so terrible. Like, he was literally looking at ex parte motions and was like,
yeah,
well, I wasn't supposed to look at this. I wasn't supposed to know that the defense was getting a special expert. I wasn't supposed to know that.
Right.
My bad. Why are we sanctioning everybody else?
Exactly.
Well, we're not even sanctioning anybody, actually. That's a thing too that I found really weird, that if the state and the judge found that the defense was being just crazy, that they would be like, oh, we're gonna sanction you guys, but nobody called it in.
Yeah, this is it. There's been a lot of really unusual things that have happened all the way through this this process. It's going on forever. I don't know I'm not saying that he is innocent. I'm not saying that, but I am getting a really strong suspicion that the prosecution might not be on the up and up. That doesn't necessarily mean he's innocent.
Or he's doing it on purpose. I don't know that either. Maybe he's just that unexperienced. No.
I can't see it though, because he will have a team. That judge would have made sure that he knew the law, because if he didn't, isn't that a great cause for an appeal? I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but they let me.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing too. I mean, you don't know really where Judge Gull is at. Some of her actions kind of make you feel like, do you really know what you're doing? So
she's a loony old bag.
And maybe it's not just her, but it's also the court, because the prosecution has complained about the defense putting in motion. So they're like, oh, you filed it wrong. Or I think that was the court, actually, my mistake. I think that was a court that was like, you filed it wrong. So now everybody knows. And you're like, shouldn't that be the court's issue? You should know what you're looking at and then be like, oh, that should be filed under this and this and this.
Yep.
Why did Nicholas McClelland have access to the ex parte motions is the question. Who gave him access to it? How did he how? Does he not know the laws? Did he? So was somebody like, oh, here it is, just open, you can go look at it? What is it? How did?
I don't know. It's sad. And the worst part of this is, well, not the worst. There's a lot of really crappy things. There's 2 little girls that some really bad ish happened to, and they deserve justice. And it just seems in my mind that nobody's playing fair. Somebody has to make these little girls their priority. Dickless Nicholas there, he can go piss up a rope as far as I'm concerned. Replace him. And Fran Gull, she's the same. She's constantly down the defense's throat. So give everybody an equal playing ground, if that's what you want to call it. Everybody gets the same treatment. That's what that damn judge is supposed to be doing. She's not doing her job. And Nicholas,
You really don't like that guy.
that guy, if he doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, well, then that's Fran Gull's problem. She should be dealing with that.
Because she kind of nurtured that, didn't she? Like, if that's the case, if that's what is happening with Nick, she kind of nurtured that. I'm assuming he's getting his information from somewhere, right? It's got to be either from her or people in the
like
court.
I say, if he is that crappy at his job, if the judge was playing fair, would she not go, okay, sorry, uneducated maggot, go somewhere else and put in someone who knows what they're doing? Like, so if he doesn't, that's on her. And if it's grounds for an appeal if that is the case. And like I say, I can't even say, I'm not saying that he's innocent because I don't know that. There's some shady shit in that side too. But the fact that we're sitting here watching a judge, the prosecutor, and everybody else underneath you differently than you are, like, no, it's a no-go. Oh, look at the patience for Daryl Brooks. There we go. That's a good comparison.
It's like
Nicholas and Daryl Brooks. I like that on the same page. It's just, look at all the patience. Tony's right. Yeah. All the patience for that. You didn't hear that judge that was dealing with Daryl Brooks just go, oh, okay, ineffective counsel. I guess he has to, I don't know, be taped to his chair. Like, it's heartbreaking to see what should be treated with the utmost respect and care is being whittled down to no trust anywhere. And if I'm starting to think that the defense might have a little bit of trust, if I'm giving that's not me. I typically think that, they're the good guys. I'm not thinking that with this case.
You mean the prosecutors? Like, you want to think that everyone's always right, but I mean, through history, we know that the judicial system doesn't always get it right. They don't. There's been plenty of people who have been released, for falsely being convicted, sometimes through even DNA, like, and I get that, but false, witnesses, it happens. People giving a false statement, giving a false alibi gets people convicted. People giving false confessions gets people convicted. Thankfully, there's people still out there who try. There's two sides to all of this. There's still people out there who are like, no, I see this and I'm gonna get you out because you're not, you shouldn't be there.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Chopper's over there holding a cattle prod.
I know.
Yeah. Wanting to dump everybody on Snake Island.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Some people definitely deserve to go there, but I do honestly think that there's something. I hope now it's getting better with like the DNA advancements that we're doing, like everything that we have now, technology, more cameras, that we're really getting to the right person. But I do hope that we are also trying to get those people from way back, like 50 years ago.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
if they're not guilty, let's get them out. Like, that's not right.
Yeah, this is the thing. I agree 1,000%. And if Richard Allen is guilty, fry him. I
Absolutely.
have no problem with
Yeah,
that.
I don't either. I just don't see
No,
the evidence against him.
I'm
Like,
just not seeing it. Hey, P9, motorcycle mama.
hi, girl. Oh my God. I'm so glad you're here right now because this is the perfect opportunity.
I'm so glad you're here right now.
To go to your channel. And yeah, thank you.
It's going good. We're just finishing up, friend. It's been a long day, and then we just did one of the new documents on Richard Allen's case. There are more, but I'm gonna have to see how it goes as far as fitting that in.
There's a lot to fit in.
There is right now.
I'm sure you guys are probably watching it somewhere else, so you probably already know. There's a lot of things going on. I think we've pretty much covered the tidbits of it tonight.
I think so, yep.
Yeah. And this was just something really new that we heard about today. The geofencing is new information to me. That's like the whole thing you should take out of this.
And if possible, another phone.
A victim phone, as they labeled it.
Mm-hmm.
Whose phone is that?
Well, I guess we have to find out where we got the information that Abby didn't have a phone.
Her parents were saying that, right? Her family was saying
her mom. I don't know if she did or not. I don't remember right now. It does, doesn't it? It sounds like an environmental sword fighting, geofencing.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm gonna have to do another deep dive on this, which I don't mind. I just I know I heard that somewhere.
No deep dives.
No, it's fine. Like, I just know that I heard that somewhere that she didn't have a phone. I think even Vinny, I don't want to call him out, but like even Vinny Politan said it, I think.
Did he? I can't say for sure, so I'm not going to. Oh, look at him. We're in the same.
Sorry, I don't mean to call you out, Vinny. I'm just saying, I thought I heard you say it. I'm going to have to go back and look at it.
Because I know he like Vinny Politan, he watches every single live I do. You know, and when it's got Mekci, he's here. Wouldn't that be something?
Hey guys, if you don't subscribe to Vinny, if you didn't know he had his own YouTube channel, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Go subscribe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dandy, if you're in the chat, if you can. I really like Vinny. He's got some good Vinny Politan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll add him when we find it. I'll add him onto my description.
I could do it. I'm already here. I'm looking at a thing. So.
What are you doing? Why are you scratching me? Yes. Well said. Got a face. As all the girls are melting. Thank you.
Yes, he does. Also, check out The Lawyer You Know. That's another one. That's
so pretty.
He's so pretty.
He's so pretty.
Yeah, we like to gush around here. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a birdie. Well, guys, I don't know about you, Mekci, but I'm
Yes,
gonna have
I'm
to hit the
ready.
haste soon. I've got to
So do I.
stream tomorrow morning at
I got work.
yes, you betcha. You've got to work, and I'm streaming at 7. So I'll set that up before I shut my computer off for the evening.
Guys, be there. This is the James Crumley trial. If you have not seen it, just come watch. Maybe you'll learn something, or just come hang out. It's always a good chat.
It is. It is.
Wolfie, I didn't even know you were here. Hi.
Is Wolfie out there? Oh, there he is. Hello, Wolfie. Good to see you. Notice the ladies leaving after Vinny. I wonder why they have to do. You brat. I shouldn't even have read that. No. I hadn't even read that.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah.
The lawyer,
Absolutely.
does that to me. Like, it's like, oh, gotta go, guys. Bye.
Okay, guys, on that note, I'm going to just do that. Let's start that end of the evening. Oh, good Lord.
Jody! Bye.
I know.
Bye, guys.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good night.
Oh, Lordy.